All right, welcome. In this video, I want to talk about the if-else function in the dplyr package. So I'm going to talk generally about this function, and then we'll see how we can use that function to help us in our data import and cleaning process where we were working with this student's data. So the issue that we wanted to correct from our previous work is we don't want this value for age to be entered as a character string FIVE, but rather the number 5. And there are lots of ways that you could go about fixing that. I want to introduce you to this nice if-else function in dplyr as one way of doing that. So because this function is in the dplyr package, you would have to load the tidyverse in order to access this function. But the function works. It has 3 arguments that we need to enter. So it's if underscore else, and then the first argument is a condition. This is going to be a logical vector. We'll explain what that means. The second input into this function is going to be some value of here's what you do if the result of that logical vector is true. And then the third thing we enter into that function is going to be what is going to be the value if the result of that test is not true, if it's false. So this logical test that we're going to enter first has to be like a binary logical test that the statement is either going to be true or false. There can't be A, B, or C. So the result of the logical test is 2 possibilities. Either it's true or it's false. And then we have 2 things that we're going to do depending on whether the result of the test is true or false. So question 4 is just asking us to let's first understand how this function works, and then we'll think about how we can apply it specifically in the context of tidying up our imported data in the student's data frame. So let's say we run the command if underscore else, and our first argument is a vector logical test. So the vector that we're going to test is everything in student's meal plan. So that's a column of that data frame. And the test is going to be, is each value in that vector equal to the text string breakfast and lunch? And then we need to say what to do if the result of that test is true. Then we're going to produce an output of both. And if the result of that test is false, then our output is going to be 1 meal. So in the end, the result is going to be a vector that has the same dimensions as our input vector, which in this case was meal plan. So that vector meal plan had 6 observations in it. So the output of this command is going to be a vector with 6 entries in it. So in order to think about what's going to happen, what the output of this command is going to be, we need to remember what data is being stored in the column meal plan of the student's data frame. So here we printed that out. This was created from previous code cells. And so if we're looking at this, the meal plan column had these various text initially, and then it's going to run a logical test. So for each of these entries, it's going to say, is the value equal to this? If it is, then it's going to output both. And again, if it's not, it outputs 1 meal. So in this case, the first entry in meal plan was lunch only. So the output of that if-else function corresponding to that entry would be 1 meal. The second value in the meal plan column was lunch only. So from that entry, we're going to get an output of 1 meal. From breakfast, the third observation was breakfast and lunch. That is a true. That does equal breakfast and lunch. So the output is going to be the character string both. So for each lunch only, it's going to output one meal. For each breakfast and lunch, it's going to output a both. So it just converts this column of lunch onlys and breakfast and lunches into something that's called one meal, both, one meal, both, one meal. So that's what I think the output is going to be. Let's run it and check it. One meal, both, one meal, both, one meal. That looks great. So we have an output, which is a vector of 6 things that are all characters. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to see how we can use this if-else function to clean up this last issue in our data, which is replace this character string 5 with the number 5. Thank you.